Resilience, focus, discipline, courage. Some of the key ingredients in manifesting your vision into a reality. Join me as we delve into what it takes to make your mark. Hello everyone, welcome to the Make Your Mark show. So we are here, we have a different setting today. We have a beautiful guest in the house. My name is Kim Niles and I'm going to be your host for today. So we are going to be taking you on a journey of the beautiful, beautiful Tabia Charles Collins. Welcome, Tabia. Thank you so much for being here today.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, coming out here on this evening and really having an intimate conversation that we're about to have.
Exactly.
So Tabia is not just any gal just sitting here with us. She is an Olympian. She's represented Canada in the Beijing Olympics in 2008.
2008, yes.
Awesome. And aside from that, she has her master's as well in industrial relations and HR, which is amazing.
Thank you
so
so
it's
much.
Not just you're on the track.
Yes.
But, you know, kind of the theme I had going for today with you was kind of like from the track to the runway.
100%.
So you're wearing this beautiful blazer.
Thank you so much.
Designed by yourself.
Designed by yours truly, yes.
From Anissa.
Yes, exactly.
So what I loved with reading your bio was that Anissa is actually your middle name spelled backwards.
Yes.
So your middle name's Hasina.
Yes, it is.
So I love that.
Thank you.
I thought it was just so amazing
to
so see how creative you actually even got with that piece.
Yes.
And, you know, seeing that it also has a beautiful meaning in Swahili and Egyptian.
Yes, it does.
So that's amazing. So welcome to the show. And, you know, why don't we start off with you kind of telling us a little bit about how you got into first becoming an athlete.
For sure.
And then we'll take it and we'll kind of go through your journey from there.
Okay, amazing. So, of course, as any young girl, I tried all different kinds of sports. You know, I did dancing, piano, basketball, volleyball, soccer, everything. I happened to just kind of grow into a track and field athlete. So I was playing soccer first, and my coach reached out to my father, was like, your daughter's so fast. Why not put her in track and field? And so I got into track and field. I think it was about maybe grade 5. And from there, it just kind of went uphill, started competing at international meets, and just doing really well, you know, did a lot better than I thought I was going to do. And I'm just kind of seeing like my progress and all the great things that were happening for me at a young age. Just decided to, you know, let's focus on track, you know, we'll put all the other things aside. And, you know, when I got to grade 9, it was kind of just more of a focus on track and fields. And, you know, that's the time when scholarships start to come around and things like that. So, yeah, from there, went to University of Miami, got a full scholarship there.
Okay.
Such a great experience. So it was a 4-year scholarship. I graduated in 3 years. Then once I finished competing at the University of Miami, graduated, came back home to Canada, and decided to start competing professionally for Canada and for Nike.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How was it competing
You know,
at such a level? Like, you know, we think of just going to a regular game and playing a game, but what does it feel like to actually compete in like
for sure.
such a foreign country, first of all?
Right.
But just to be on that level, what does that feel like?
You know, to be honest with you, it was like, you know, even at a young age, like I've always wanted to travel the world. And of course, like you dream of these things, you don't know how it's going to happen, where you're going to go. But with track and field, it took me to places I only imagined, to Greece, to India, to wherever it was. And to be able to go there, see the world, and also like compete with the best, such a great feeling. And of course, like now when I look back, I think I took that experience for granted. But yeah, just going there, competing with the best, and you know, doing my best, such a humbling experience. And I'm so excited to kind of to talk to other young people who are, you know, also aspiring athletes. But honestly, it was such a great time of my life, and there's times I wish I could go back and relive
Hmm.
all of that again. But definitely a great experience for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what would you say one of your biggest accomplishments were? I know before we started the show, you were telling me something about the Hall of
Fame,
Fame.
yes.
So, what now? Obviously, that doesn't necessarily have to be yours,
For
but
sure, right.
what was one of your biggest accomplishments that, like, literally, this is something that you look to all the time, and you're like, oh my God, was
I
that me?
For sure. So such a good question, like so people ask me that, and I often, I'm in a daze like, what's my greatest accomplishment? One of my greatest accomplishments for sure was graduating in 3 years. From the University of Miami. So of course I competed full time, and I was an athlete full time, and academics full time. And so graduating in 3 years, but also getting the NCAA championship that
Yes.
year, for me that was a great accomplishment for me. Also making the Olympic team was one of the greatest milestones in my life. As a kid, I always said I want to go to the Olympics. I want to be, but you say those things not really knowing if it's going to happen.
Yep.
But when I jumped that Canadian standard, and I was told that I made it on the Olympic team.
Hmm.
Definitely was such a beautiful experience for me, and just to go there, be in the bird's nest, have people chanting your name. Yeah, it was
Wow.
such a great feeling. And what's crazy now is that, so after the Olympics, I was injured very badly, and I couldn't come back to compete, and I really wanted to. So for years and years, I kind of like had that burden on me of like disappointment, not being
Hmm.
able to come back and do great things at London Olympics because I was stronger, I was faster. And so getting the call late last year that I made they want me to be inducted into the Miami Hall of Fame,
Hmm.
it kind of, that burden that I had all these years about not going to that next level of really showing the world what I have, it kind of made me feel so good to know that all of that hard work wasn't in vain. And although I didn't, do what I wanted to in Beijing, or, I was injured and couldn't go on to London Olympics,
Hmm.
being inducted into the Hall of Fame at University of Miami is definitely something that I'm so thankful for.
Wow,
Yeah.
I am so proud of
Yeah,
you. Like,
thank you. I
that's
appreciate it.
amazing.
Thank
Because,
you.
one of the things that people tend to struggle with, and I know I struggle with sometimes, is like, you wonder, is anyone hearing me?
No, right.
Like,
At
knock,
least,
knock.
yeah,
Like, is anyone
exactly.
here? Like,
Right.
So, I mean, I totally get, when you got that call, that feeling is like,
Right.
wow, like
For
I still
sure.
do matter.
100%. Right. Because for a long time, it's like, I think am I relevant now? Like after
Mm-hmm.
you stop competing, and, the attention isn't the same like what it used to be. Like you're
Yep.
traveling and you're meeting people and people are cheering for you. And so after that, it's kind of, I feel like I became like just a regular person, right?
Yep.
Which is nothing wrong with that. But it was no more of like the traveling and competing at big meets and being on the world stage. And
Yep.
so for like I said, for a long time, like I carried that burden of, man, like, do people still know who I am? Do people still remember what I've done? And that showed me that you weren't forgotten. So all
Yep.
the hard work that you've done and all your accomplishments from track and field, they mattered. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
So, you just touched on a really good point about, wondering if you mattered, am I relevant? Were there ever times in the sport
Mhm.
that you felt that you weren't relevant?
Oh, most definitely. Like, of course, there's times where, most athletes go through stages, right? Where you're either doing really, really well, or you've hit a peak. And there was times where I wasn't competing at my best, or there were things going on around me. I didn't have a coach, or my coach wasn't
Hmm.
there, just different things and I wasn't competing at part where I should have been. And of course, you see other people doing amazing things, and it's like, why am I still at this level?
Hmm.
And so, but something definitely did change for me. And my coach came back from Russia. Everything was just going so awesome. I was jumping better. I felt good. And so that feeling of not feeling like I was relevant, I mean, it was short lived, right? Like you go through that little phase, but then you got to get out of that misery and kind of do what you have to do. So yeah, I've been there before. I've been there before many times in my life, right? Am I relevant? Like, what does that even mean? Like, am I relevant to who? To,
Yep. That's
right? Like, we have to
yep.
be relevant to ourselves more than anything. But we tend to add so much value on what other people think of us. And
Yep.
so this is what makes us go crazy sometimes. But however, yeah, I went through that phase and quickly got out. And of course, like I said, I was working hard. I was feeling strong, but just got injured and couldn't quite get over that injury. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was an amazing introduction into kind of your world, right, as
Yes.
an
Yes,
athlete.
yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit about Anissa now.
Oh, God, lovely. And let's speak about Anissa. Anissa's almost like, I kind of feel like I'm training for the Olympics again. You know, it's
Yeah,
start from the ground up.
that's how I feel every day.
Yeah. So Anissa, as you know, is my name, Hasina spelled backwards.
Yeah.
My father and my brother named me as a child, and so I just always
Oh,
have loved that name. But anyways, I've always wanted to do fashion. Like even when I was competing, I competed in fishnets. You know, like I was always trying
I
to
saw
stay.
that. When I
Yeah.
Googled you, I'm like, is she in fishnets
I
and
sure was.
shorts?
Yeah. Yes, I was. So I've always loved fashion from a young age, and as confident as I was with like as an athlete, as who I am, you know, you always feel like, but can I really do fashion like on that stage? And so for
Hmm.
years and years and years, you know, I've always had this dream of like, you know, I made my own clothes sometimes, like I would create my own things, but definitely just took some years to kind of get the confidence to say, hey, I want to start my own thing,
Hmm.
and so I started out with skirts. I love skirts. So like this high waisted skirts with slits. You know,
Yeah.
I had made one for myself a long time ago. People loved it. I went to LA and they loved it. They're like, where can we buy this? And so that showed me that, listen, like maybe I can really do something with fashion. And so when Anissa really hit the ground running was I was on mat leave. And I was like, oh my God, I do not want to go back to work. Like, I want to stay home here with my child and
Yeah.
enjoy my family, you know. And so I launched it while on mat leave. And it was just like the feedback was amazing, it was overwhelming. The sales were coming, it was great. And so from there, I was like, you know what? Like, this is my time. This is my time more than ever. Then I got laid off, and it was like, listen, the universe is sending me some signs that you've got to do your own thing. Do what you're passionate about, do what you love, and it has never felt better. And I feel like it's just gonna go up from here. Yeah.
So from literally, we are going from the track
Yes.
to the runway.
Yes.
So we are going to take a quick break and we will be back shortly. From a tender age, I recognized that I was not the average girl. I was always opinionated, outspoken, and for the most part, unapologetic. I was born to lead, to inflict positive change, to serve. I was born a leader. Harnessing this internal drive led me to spearheading several businesses while unlocking potential within large organizations in director roles throughout the city. While on this quest, I discovered my love for people and passion for personal development. Throughout my career, I have mentored hundreds of individuals, both personally and professionally, channeling my belief of self-care and with an avid love for fitness. Daily, I nurture my mind, body, and soul, embracing the very act of self-love. I truly do believe that you cannot give what you don't have. With a commitment to living on purpose and within my purpose, my personal mantra is to leave better than I met. Hello, and we are back, and today we have the beautiful Tabia Charles Collins in the house. Tabia, your story is simply amazing, and what I love most about it is the fact that you took all the discipline, is what I'm hearing from you, that you learned from sports,
100%.
and you're now transferring that into your own business.
Yes, necessary.
Right? And you're also seeing every day as being a full-time
Right.
entrepreneur how much discipline comes
Oh
into
my gosh,
play.
how much work, of course.
Right? It's so funny. This morning I got an email from a young lady saying to me, you know, I saw you out at a university last week speaking. I'm interested in being an entrepreneur and I just want to know where to start. I felt like responding saying self-discipline,
Right.
because really that is like the root of
No,
it
for
all.
sure, of course.
And, you know, it's clear in listening to your story that it's something that you're also taking into your
for sure.
business right
Yes,
now.
yes.
So I want to kind of get into the resiliency piece of, you know, your journey.
For sure.
So being that you were in athletics,
Yes.
which is sometimes very much a male dominated environment.
Yes, yes, yes.
How did you handle that in showing up in that space sometimes
Right.
as a female, predominantly a female of color?
No, for sure. Great question. So of course, I mean, yes, I mean, track and field we know is, it's the men dominate that, right? Like, although it's a mixed sports and women still do amazing, men do amazing, they're out to see the men run the hundreds
Yep.
and run the certain events and so on. But to be honest with you, I've never felt like inferior. I've never felt, I never felt any shyness or any issues being in that space. Of course, in order to get certain sponsorships and get the same kind of attention and things like that as the men do, you have to work hard. I mean, with anything you have to work hard.
Yep.
But you do have to work harder to ensure that you're being seen as well and to ensure that you're getting what you deserve. So I mean, it's just a matter of kind of knowing the right people, making your connections, working harder, and just basically showing up. It's important to show up, get your work done, be at the important meets and have the right agents, you know what I mean?
And I think it's important that you said that in terms of showing up.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs that I've done, it's very much in a male dominated
Right.
environment. And, people would say, Kim, isn't that hard for you, isn't it? And no doubt,
Right.
especially because I've been in places where it's all about numbers.
Yes.
So sales are very important, but it's always like, how do you deal with it? And for me, it was just, I showed up.
No, for sure. That's how you should show up.
Yeah, I showed up
Yeah.
and I did the job. And I know that obviously, yes, I had something to prove,
Of course.
but not more so to them, but to myself.
To yourself, 1,000%.
So I think that's such a key piece in knowing that you have to show up in every
Just show up,
situation.
yeah, every situation.
And people will respect you for what you bring to the table.
Exactly. Whether a woman or a man.
Yes.
Right? Like, of course, like sometimes, as we know, whether it's in business or whatever it is, I mean, I do believe that in the career field, it's a bit different. It's like when you're in sports, we compete with other women, right?
Yes.
Like, we're not competing against men. In certain sales fields or corporate, it's men and women competing together. And so track and field is it's very different, right? Like, we're all competing together. We're all trying to get into the final spots.
Yeah.
So a bit less stressful than
Yeah.
what you've had to deal with. But it's just a matter of just showing up. Numbers don't lie, your times don't lie, your meters when you jump doesn't lie. And so that's
Yeah.
like the great thing about individual sports is that they can't cheat your time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things you just said, I always use that men lie, women lie, but numbers don't
lie.
lie.
Never.
I always stand by the numbers, girl.
That's true.
I do. I stand by the numbers.
100%, right.
But you just have to be very aware of yourself. And I think that sometimes the struggle that we face is that we start looking at male, female. And what I love the most about sports
Right.
or training for me in general is that when we go through adversity together, it humbles us.
Of course.
So there's no ego, there's no pride.
Right.
So we're all on the same playing field. We've all been there together.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's one of the things I really, really love about definitely training.
Definitely.
And I'm sure it shows up in the athletic world as well.
Of course, right. Definitely.
So tell us about a time, Tabia, where you just felt like, you know what, I had enough.
Oh gosh.
She's like, oh my gosh, too many times to count. Which one do you want? But tell us really about that time where, you felt like you had enough, you just wanted to give up, and, this wasn't just for you anymore.
Yeah. So two instances, and it was two instances where the first instance, so for example, Olympic year 2008, I actually had just a small knee surgery. I had got my knee scoped. So I had some issues with like my knees. And so it was a year to compete and 2 year to qualify. And, this happened, so my knees were like really bad and had to get a knee scoop. And it was like, man, like this is Olympic year. How am I going to qualify? This might be my last chance. And so it was super stressful, just kind of understanding. So after surgery, when do I train? How am I going to get stronger? If I can't come out and work hard, when am I going to compete? When will I make standard? And so it was a stressful time, and it was kind of like, oh man, like, do I just wait till the next year? Do I just kind of, give up now? And, you kind of make those excuses for yourself.
Yep.
But that was the year where I worked super hard. And although I had the knee surgery, I was working on every other part of my body, doing everything that I could do to maintain my strength, maintain my speed, and so on and so forth. And that was the year I qualified for the Olympic Games. And so I faced adversity, but in the face of adversity, I was able to knock it right down and kind of, go after my goals. when I got injured again in 2011 or 2010, that was a hard one because there's times you can come back and there's times that you might want to wait it out, take 2 years to get back strong again. But my injury was so bad, and it would have been very difficult to come back as I was before, in a short period of time. It would take me some years. And so at that point, I faced, do I continue on and see where this takes me? Or do I, say goodbye to track and field and move on to the next step of my life, right? And what's hard for many athletes is sometimes it's like, what else am I going to do? But at a very young age, especially university, I always knew I always had a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And sometimes it isn't a good thing, because if you're always focusing on different plans, you can never focus on just one, right? And give your all.
Yep.
But anything can happen to you in sport. Everyone doesn't make it in sport. Everyone doesn't go to the Olympics. Everyone doesn't compete professionally. And so when I got injured, as stressful and as sad as I was, it was kind of like, you know what? This was so lovely while it lasted. And although I wanted to do so much more and I had so much more in me to do, I just felt that it was time for me to say, you know what? On to my next journey. And so, of course, people say, why'd you give up so easily? Like, you gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, let's be honest, part of it may have been giving up, but part of it was, you know what? I was ready to just be on with it and to do something new and to start something else, and to move on. And that's what I did. And do I regret it? No, not really. Do I think about, what could I have become if I stayed in it and maybe was patient? All the time, right? But I am about moving forward, and right now I'm in a place in my life that I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm doing my fashion, which I'm so excited about. You know what I mean? And after track and field, I went into the corporate world. I got my master's in industrial relations. I worked in marketing. I worked for Coca-Cola, for Monster Energy, and really and truly, at least I got to see that side of it, right? Mm-hmm. From being an athlete to going into corporate, not for me. I always felt like that was the way to go, is I want to work for it and climb this corporate ladder. I want no part of it. But at least I got a taste of that, to see what it's like to work with people, have a boss and all those things. And now it's like I'm taking that mentality from when I was an athlete. I was my own boss almost, to now into my fashion line, to my own fashion business. And this is where I need to be right now. And I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I've never been this excited about something in my life. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you just gave us so much there, so much, but I think one of the key pieces that you just highlighted is the fact that as an athlete, you had another plan.
100%.
And sometimes even people that are not an athlete, they tend not to have a plan B.
Oh, for sure.
And it is something for me in coaching that I've done with so much staff throughout the years, and clients that I work with. I always say to people, what else? Because one thing I know for sure, I'm going to quote one of my favorite mentors out there,
yes,
is that it's not going to be one thing that's going to take you to where you need to go.
For sure.
You need multiple streams happening for you at a time.
Agreed.
And, one of the things in working with athletes myself that I found is that when their mind is so set on the limelight, the accolades, walking into a space and people recognize you as somebody.
Definitely.
And then all of a sudden it's like someone pulls a rug from underneath your legs.
Right.
And you don't have that platform anymore.
Right, for sure.
What now?
Yeah. That's a lot of athletes say that. What now? And hence why there's so many athletes still in a sport that they really shouldn't be there, right? They could be flourishing somewhere else.
Yep.
Use that whatever it is, creativity, a business plan, or whatever it could be. But you're right, it's almost like you're nervous.
Yeah.
You're so used to the space. Where do I go now? Who's going to know me?
Yeah.
Who's going to give me all these perks?
Yeah.
Right? Because as athletes, you get so many perks.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I think one of the key pieces to that is knowing who you are and having some sense of self.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
Because, I always say this to people too. One of the things for me in becoming an entrepreneur is I had to first get my mind wrapped around the fact that what my title was on my job was not who I am.
Oh my gosh, right there, yes.
So then I can see that from an athletic perspective as well, when you're used to stepping into a space and people see you as this person,
right.
and then you step into a space and then you're just John Lewis.
It's so true.
And no one
Yeah.
knows who
And nobody
you
knows who you
are.
are.
And I had to, that was also something for me where coming into the entrepreneurship world, it was like, I'm starting from scratch. And yeah, everything that you've done, Kim, means nothing because
Means nothing
nobody
here. Yeah,
knows
nobody
what
knows.
you've done.
So true.
And
Yes.
you've got to prove yourself again and you got to start from scratch.
Yes.
And you're like, well, why do I have to do this? I already do this. I
Yeah,
can run
right.
circles around this person. Like, what's
Exactly.
going on? Right? Trust me, I faced that.
Yes.
And so I could just see how having that plan B and having the plan C, as you
Right,
said,
yes.
is so critical.
So critical.
Especially more so for the state of your mental health, because really it's what's happening up here that's really playing so many tricks on you.
100%.
So talk to us, Tabia, about a little bit about your support system.
Oh, for sure. I've had an amazing support system. So nothing but support from at a young age, even till now, you know, amazing parents who support everything that I do. You know, like no matter how stressful things are, whether it's financial or whatever it is, I have that support to try different things. So I'm really fortunate in that sense, is that, you know, what's next? You know, Mom, I want this to do this endeavor. Dad, I want to do this endeavor. Okay, what do you need? So I've always had the support where I can try different things and not worry, right? And that's also helped me as well in trying new things, starting new things, having a plan B, having a plan C. You know, parents are like, you know, you're going to school. I went back to school. You know, why don't you try something new? And so a support system is so key. And this is why as well, like why a lot of people, they don't have a plan B, they don't have a plan C, is because who else is fostering that, right? They don't have family members or friends. You know, you're seen as this one person, you're an athlete, but there's so much more to life. And being an athlete was just one part of my life. You know what I mean? Like it didn't quite define me. And so that's why I was able to kind of, you know, part ways with it, feel good about it, and move on.
I think you mentioned a critical piece there in terms of it didn't define you.
Right.
And that's what we tend to do. We tend to let our positions in life define us.
Right.
So that was key. And I think obviously for yourself, having such a strong family network obviously helped to really shape you and form you. And your part as being an athlete was just literally a part of you, but not you.
But exactly, just part of the journey. Like that's one aspect of who I am. You know, like I love to travel. I love to design. I like to create. There's so many different avenues about me. And I mean, of course, all may not flourish the same, but there's so much more to me than just Tabia, the athlete who, you know, broke Canadian records. That's just one part of my journey. And I love it and I appreciate for what it was. And then on to the next, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. So we're having such an intimate, great discussion with Tabia Collins today. I missed the Charles. Tabia Charles Collins in there today. So we are going to take a quick break and then we will be back. Hello, and we are back, and we have the beautiful Tabia Charles Collins here today, and we're having a great conversation today. And you know, when we left off, we were talking a bit about support systems.
Yes.
And I wanted to kind of delve in a little bit more to mentors and coaches that you've had, and how they have played a great role in your life and in your career now.
Definitely. I have been extremely fortunate to have had some great mentorship along the way. From coaches to when I was in elementary school to high school, all of my coaches have played a great role, a major role in my success, my life success, my athletic success. I was lucky enough that they all wanted the best for me. You know, sometimes you have coaches that it's kind of like their own self-interest, but it was always about making me better, being where I needed to be to become better, having the right environment. So I have always admired them, and I'm still friends with them today, which is a great thing.
That's amazing.
And so even after track, they were still super supportive in my endeavors, which was lovely. So my coaches were great mentors, like from like I said, elementary school to university, to my professional coach. Just honestly, without them, I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten. And so I've been extremely thankful for that. My biggest mentor, to be honest, are my parents. You know, like they've hard workers. They take chances in life. They're all about just trying new things. And so this is where I get it from as well, just trying new things, being adventurous, not being afraid to do things. So my biggest mentors, I would say, are my parents. Also, just friends around me who have been very successful. I have a friend, she is a sexologist, and she has,
What an interesting
yeah,
job.
right? She's hustled for years, hustled for her goals, hustled for her dreams. When people told her, like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are they making money from it? Like, and she hustled just doing a million and one things, went out to LA, just took a chance and, struggled for a bit as well. And so I honestly look to her to as a real life person to show that if you believe in yourself, right, you have to invest in yourself. And it may take 5 years, it could take 10 years, but if you truly believe in your brand, what you have to offer, you have to work hard. So she inspires me big time because she's such a hard worker. She did odd jobs here and there to survive, and now she's like living out her dreams. You know what I mean? So I've had friends who inspire me, my parents inspire me, my siblings inspire me. And so, yeah, my biggest mentors, I would say, are just family and friends, close people. I don't really look to, people on TV or things like that. Just real life examples of that I've, lived with and I've grown up with and that sort of thing.
So, in mentioning that your parents were such a big influence
Yes.
over you for mentors, were there ever, coming from obviously a Caribbean household,
Right.
The law is the law,
Oh.
were there ever, what were some of the things that you look back now being a mother?
Right.
What were some of the things that you look back at now and you understand now?
I understand. Oh my gosh, yeah. So my parents, I didn't have strict parents, right? And also I'm the last of four, so they probably just were super easy on me because they were tired. But I totally understand now, like, why my parents were kind of judgmental about who I kept as friends. You know what I mean? I want to be like that too. I want to be very sure that my kids are around quality people, who care about them, who care about themselves. You want to be around people who have goals for themselves.
Yep.
And so now I look back, my parents be like, why is his pants down to his ankle? And why is this friend not going to school? And why? And I get it, because you are the company you keep. And so my parents were always pushing that from a young age, that you will become like those around you, of course, right? Like, you're around them most of the time, you're being leisure with them. And so I totally get it now why they say, you are the friends you keep. Be around certain people who are going to propel you in the right direction. And so that, I totally get it. I totally understand now. Yeah.
And I tell this to people all the time. You are some of the person to the left of you and to the right of you.
For sure.
And there's no questions asked. And, for example, in being an athlete, you hung out with athletes.
Athletes, right. Athletes who are motivated, who are disciplined, and you want to be like that, right? So if I was around people who kind of, whatever, like, let's not go to practice, let's not go out here, let's not go to training, then of course, like, it's very hard to be that one person that goes the other way. It's difficult.
And it is. And it's something, even in the training world, for me, with working with clients at times, I will tell them, they'll say, you know what, I want to make this change for myself.
Right.
And you can't make this change until you decide to change your environment. Your environment dictates so much.
Right.
What I love it is when I meet with people and they're like, oh no, my friends do that, but I don't do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Really. It's so true. And you'll hear people say it all the time. But honestly, it's true what they say. Like, show me your friends, I'll tell you. Or show me or you look at somebody and you say, you know what, I can just tell who they hang out with. You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
You can always tell.
Yeah. Habits are contagious.
Oh, yes. Habits are so contagious. That's a good one. It's true.
It's true. Habits are contagious. It may not rub off on you the first day, the second day, but give it some time.
Of course.
And habits are contagious.
Definitely.
So, Tabia, tell us, what is your definition of success?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question, because it's funny. I was thinking about this yesterday, and there was a time where I thought success was going to be, I'm gonna, be a director of a company, and be in with all like the top heads. And there was a time where I thought that was like going to be success, right? And so, what success is for me is definitely accomplishing my personal goals, right, and being extremely happy. And with happiness for me comes, financial stability, my health, traveling. And so my success is doing what I love and being able to sustain a living from it, right? Having goals and accomplishing my goals. that's what success is for me. And so it's just making sure that I'm constantly achieving. It makes me feel good when I write my goals down. I have an action plan and I achieve something. And if I don't, it's I tried, on to the next. But definitely for sure, like success for me is like just making myself happy, making the others around me proud, and being able to work at what I love and what I'm good at and be able to make money from it. For sure, that's what success is for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So would you say that in being a wife yourself,
Yes.
do you feel that your success is a partnership, a collaboration with
sure.
your partner?
100%. Like, I don't want to be with anybody that I can't grow and build an empire with, right? We work so well as a team. Like Dennison, that's my husband's name. Like when my skirts,
I could tell he makes you smile. Yeah. You start talking about him, and all of a sudden you start smiling.
No, for
that's
sure.
good.
Like, I think about I've started so many different ventures, right? So a little while back I had cheesecakes, right? I was doing cheesecake, and people were ordering for me, and Dennison would just be dropping them off and delivering cheesecakes for me. And even with my garments now, like if I need him to drop them off for me, he does. If I'm busy, I was working my job, and if he could do it, he would drop them. And he's such a big cheerleader, like my biggest cheerleader. He'll post up all my things for me. I'll try them on. He's like, oh my gosh, Dad, that's amazing. Like he just makes me feel like I can do it. And he excites me, he does. And so us being able to build together, accomplish our goals separately, we have separate goals, but accomplishing our goals together, such a beautiful thing. Like I must admit, I really do feel that I am successful in my relationship, in my family. Such an amazing husband. So
that was a post I saw recently that you put out. You guys having some risque.
Yeah.
Like I was like, is that Tabia? Okay, girl, I see you. And you had this post about sometimes you need to step away,
100%.
and then you get back together, and then you appreciate that person just that much more.
Of course.
And clearly that you can see that, like as I said, I brought him up and I could see the smile happening, which is a beautiful thing. But one of the things I do, especially with working with a lot of different people through the work that I do, is that I always ask them when I meet with a woman particularly, I say, how does your husband feel? How does your partner feel about what you do? Because I believe that if you're in a relationship and you're talking about success, I believe that person is part of that, because
of course
you're not just in it by yourself.
Right.
Especially as an entrepreneur, your significant other has to understand what that world looks like.
100%. And so because like me and Dennison are we're similar, but we're also very different. So I'm the risk taker. Like I'm the kind of person who will take up our whole savings and try a venture.
That's me too.
Right? Crazy. So Dennison's so awesome because I could be broke, just trying to do my business, put everything towards something that I believe in.
Yeah.
And he will be like, okay, Tab, I got it. Like I'll deal with all the other stuff. If I can't pay the bills, right? Because I'm trying to do a venture, I'm so lucky and thankful that Dennison will be like, don't worry, Tab, like I'll figure it out, And so he understands. If he was like me, we would have no house. We would be on the street somewhere, right? So I'm so thankful that I can still take my chances and not worry about, I can't really do this because I have a family. No, go ahead, Tab, try it, do it.
Yeah.
And so that right there, I feel like I'm winning because I how can I fail, right? Like I'm such a great partner who's rooting for me, and I want to show him that everything he's done is not in vain,
Yeah. So such a great collaboration, and the balance is there because, as you said, if they were both like you, you guys would be
no, for sure,
right outside.
Exactly.
I'm probably kind of the same way as well. So the balance is key.
Oh my God,
in a relationship, and I think especially for women, sometimes we tend to accept certain things if you have big goals that you want to accomplish. You got to find someone that's on that team as well that will help to bring balance to you.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So some great conversation that we're having. Be somebody nobody thought you could be. Your only limit is you. You only fail when you stop trying. make your mark. You got this. Hello, and we are back, and we are having such an amazing conversation today.
So
Tabia, it's been so amazing I know you, but it's like getting to really know you, right? And isn't it crazy that you can know someone and then it's like when you actually sit down and take the time to understand their journey, how much more.
Right, how much you learn.
Right?
How much you thought you knew, but you didn't really know.
Yeah. Exactly. So, now I want to get into more about Tabia. We kind of talked about the journey.
Right.
We talked about, your mentors, your leaders in your life. We talked about your partner, how he plays a part with you in there. Now, how does Tabia take care of herself? Like, how do you stay holistically resilient?
Yeah, so I am a firm believer of putting myself first. So whether you have a family, you have children, if I don't put myself first and take care of myself, it's not possible for me to take care of everybody else, right? So for me, traveling is like a huge thing for me. Like traveling is like, it's like life. I'm rejuvenated when I travel. I can reset. So I travel often, and which is super important for me to do.
I saw that when I saw you in St. Martin the other day. I was like,
like where'd
no hubby, no
child,
no child. What's going on?
Yes, definitely. Okay. And my husband gets it too. Like he knows like, okay, Tab needs to travel. For sure. Like I still need to do me. Having a child and starting a business, I still put myself first for everything, right? And like I said, putting myself first, I have energy and time and love to spread all over to my family, to my friends, to all my loved ones. So traveling is extremely important. I get massages on a regular basis, so I take time out for myself. Even just recently now, I've been working out on like for 3 to 4 times a week, and that makes me feel so good. That time by myself to work out, focus on me, focus on getting fit. So that for me is important mentally for me and physically, of course. Just getting out with my friends and having time alone. Sometimes I'm just home alone. My husband will go visit family. He'll take our son, and I can just have a glass of wine and relax and think. There's times I don't need any music. I just want to hear my thoughts. I want to write my thoughts down. I want to think about how my day went. I want to think about what I can change. And so those are all the different things mixed together that help keep me sane and to help keep me whole, for sure.
I can definitely relate in terms of, taking the time to work out for yourself.
Yes.
For the month in February, I wasn't able to work out as much, and I thought I was losing my mind. Yeah. I literally thought, like, I mean, mind you, a lot of it is mental.
Of course.
But I was just like, today I had such an amazing workout, and I sat in my car for 5 minutes after, and I just felt so good. I just felt like I accomplished.
That's it. Those small wins.
Yeah. It was just like, wow, like a real workout.
Yeah.
And it's just that aha feeling where it's like, oh my gosh, like, whew.
Yeah.
I could do anything now.
You completed your workout. It was difficult, but you got through the end.
Yes.
To the end, yeah.
Yes. So one of the things I'd love to touch on is I hear from a lot of mothers, and that it's hard to work out or hard to take care of themselves because they are a young mother, a new mother, or they have several kids, and they always tell me no time. There's absolutely no time.
No, for sure.
Now, I believe that people make time for what's important to them.
I'm just gonna say that, yeah.
So how do you really section out that time for yourself?
For sure.
As a new mom.
100%. So, and that's one thing. So like, I can't speak for other mothers, right? But for myself, it's, if you really want to do something, you will always find a way, always. Mm-hmm. So if I have to strap D'Angelo to me and run my errands and do what I have to do, I do that. If I have to wake up a couple hours early, drop off to my mom's or to babysitters, go work out and come back and get him, you do it because I really want to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really want to be fit and feel good about myself. So he's about 14 months now, and there hasn't been anything I couldn't do because of D'Angelo, because of my son. Nothing, ever. I've never said, I can't do this because of D'Angelo. I can't go here. There was a time I was going to go back to school and I was studying for a test. And whether he's there or not, you figure out a way. You always figure out a way. You use your resources. There's babysitters, there's people. So we all choose and decide what we want to do.
Definitely.
We choose and decide if we don't want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much easier to say, you know what? You know, the kid. It's such an amazing experience. Sometimes I don't want to go out and I could be like, man, I could just say, but I refuse to be that mother. You know what I mean? I want to show people that kid or no kid, you can accomplish it. And I want to be that example for everybody.
Yeah. You know, I always say to people when they make these excuses, because I call them excuses, and they'll say to me, you know, well, I can't. I just don't have the time. But then I look at their hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that takes a couple of hours.
That's right.
I look at their nails. I'm like, ooh, that's nice. That's pretty.
No, for sure.
So that means that you can find the time, right? And, you know, for me, what's really important is for people to understand what just making that little amount of time for yourself does for you. Because I know the feeling that it gives me when I'm like, oh my gosh, it's, you know, just myself alone with my thoughts.
Oh my goodness,
and how important that is.
Of course.
So, Tabia, tell us, what are two things that you wish you knew earlier?
Right.
And two things that you would change now?
Yeah. So two things that I wish I knew earlier is that, so one of them would definitely be, I wish I knew earlier that I have time. So meaning, I was always such a rush to do things. Like, I want to graduate. I want to do this. I want to do that. I mean, we know life is short. We never know what's guaranteed, but you have time to try new things, right? Like, you have time to try a different venture. I wish then I knew that. Don't rush. Like, what are you rushing for? Take your time, master a craft, try something new. And so I wish I did more of that when I was younger. The other thing that I wish I knew then is that what people say doesn't always matter, right? And that's a huge one. We grow up thinking like, oh my God, like I want to please this person. I want to please, and you still want to please, I want to please my parents. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to please people and to make people proud, but there's so much more life than what so-and-so thinks. And so I wish I knew then, like, it didn't matter what, you know, what your friends thought, or it doesn't matter what this teacher thought. It doesn't matter what this coach thought. You just need to work hard, and it matters how you feel about yourself. And so those are two things that I wish back then I knew. Would have been less stressed out, would have put less pressure on myself, you know?
Yeah.
The other question was, what...
Two things you would change.
Oh, two things I would change. Oh my gosh, yes. I would change, oh man. So, you know, you grow up, you're around certain people, and oh man, I would change the time I wasted with certain people, with certain friends, with certain individuals. You know what I mean? Like, not that I regret meeting people. It's as opposed to maybe wasting 7 years of my life, you know, along with a negative cycle, it would have been less time. So it takes out so much energy from your life, right? Like, just negative people, negative situations. I would also change, like, acting out of character. So when you're younger, you want to fight with people, argue, and get the last word, and waste energy trying to prove a point, and all those different things, you know? I wish that I knew then, just walk away. Like, don't entertain people. Don't let people have you come out of your character. It's not worth it. So those are, for sure, two things. Time wasted with the wrong people, and staying true to myself and not coming out of character. Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned earlier in terms of self-validation or validation from others, where that is something where as you get older, I believe you recognize that it's more self-validation that's more important,
of course,
because you will never be able to please every single person.
Not possible, right? Not impossible.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you realize that, you know, you might be making a great decision for yourself, and it might affect somebody else. You know what I mean? But you can't please people. And when you try, and I've been like that, a people pleaser, wanting to please everyone, right? What's important is that I please myself. However, as I mentioned, there are people in my life that I still want to. I want to please my family. I want to please my husband. I want to please my son. I want to please, but there's times where I might do things that are best for me and might not work for him. And that's fine. You come to a compromise. But self-validation is key. And when you have great self-validation, you make better choices for yourself, right? Like when you have high self-awareness, you're making better choices, better decisions, that affect everybody positively.
Something else key that you mentioned was, you were rushing to get
Oh
everything done.
gosh, yes.
And a big thing I speak to young people about is mastering one thing at
Oh
a
my
time.
goodness, yes.
Because jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes.
So one of the things I find with new entrepreneurs is that they're trying to do this, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that.
Way too many
And
things.
it's like, you cannot do all of that.
Not possible.
And the beautiful thing is that when you take the time to master one thing at a time, then you become an expert in fields.
Of course, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then now it all adds up, and there's transferable skills that you can use in other things.
Of course.
So I think that's a key piece that you mentioned, is that there is time. Yes, tomorrow is promised to no man.
Of course.
But you're better off to master in one thing
100%.
and then continue to build.
1,000%, yeah.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Good stuff. So Tabia, tell us, what is a quote that you live by? Like, what's a quote that, I'm a big person on affirmations.
Yes, of course.
Hence, I can and I will, if if you didn't know.
Right.
So what is something that you live by, like literally in the times when it's like you're down in the dumps and you're like, oh my gosh, like you need to recenter.
Right.
What does that look like for you?
Right.
I know for me, it's literally like, I can and I will. Like I people will think it's like, oh my God, Kim, this is so cheesy.
Right.
But literally actually telling myself that, it makes me believe that I will find a way.
You will find a way.
There's there has to be a way. There cannot not be a way.
No, for sure.
So literally it's I can and I will.
Got it. There's so many quotes that I live by, but I don't know if it's a quote or just a statement, but what always stands out to me is that you choose the life that you desire to live, right? So we often make excuses like, oh man, like I didn't get this when I was younger. I never had that opportunity. I don't know people like that. But everybody, right? Unless like you grow up and, of course, there's always exceptions, but I truly believe that I will be able to choose the life that I want to live. And it might take longer than the next person and it might be hard work, but I truly do believe that I'm going to choose the life that I truly desire. You know what I mean? And I will not give up until I like nice things. I like to travel. I like to spoil my family and friends. And so I want to do that on a bigger scale. I want to work so hard and for them to see me flourish, and I can send my dad and my mom on a trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to live that life that I've always been yearning for, and I really believe that I'm going to choose that life, and I'm working towards it to get everything that I want, everything that I deserve, and I will never have an excuse as to why I can't achieve certain things. So I'm going to choose life that I'm yearning to live. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like your choices is your destiny.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. Like your choices is your destiny.
Definitely.
And in working with young people quite a bit, one of the things I talk to them about is the fact that you have so much control.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of times they serve me excuses.
Of course.
And I call them excuses because you can choose not to do that, and you could just choose to do your work.
Of course. Yeah, it's true.
There's two choices. You can either make an excuse or you could just do it.
Right.
So I love that you said that, just because your choices really is your end result.
Is your end result, 100%.
What would be, just finishing off here, what would be a piece of advice that you would give a young athlete and a new entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. Go for it. Like when you're young, this is the time where you don't have big responsibilities. There's not much stresses. You don't have mortgage. You don't have rent. This is the time when you're young. Travel the world if you can. Honestly, travel the world. Try a business venture. Do it now, because you can do it at any age, but make the mistakes now when you're young. Take a chance. I'm so big on taking risks, taking chances. Do it at a young age. You know what I mean? Like whether it's trying to get real estate, whether it's trying a new job, whether it's you want to go backpack around the world, do it when you're young. There's so much time for everything else. There's so much time for stress and for life and for responsibilities. When you don't have much of them, this is the time when you should just go for it. That is definitely my advice. Go for it. Try new things as always. Don't be afraid. Look to people for advice. Like look to mentors. Ask questions. Talk to people. Because those are the people that are going to help you. Like when you have people around you that you can ask questions, learn from other people's mistakes. Just go for it.
Awesome. Tabia, this has been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just your insight into getting to know who you are, know your journey, the resiliency that you had to build is just phenomenal.
Thanks so much.
And literally, you are taking it from the track to the runway. Like, look at this jacket.
Thank you.
Look at this jacket. So what do people have to look forward to with Anissa?
Yes. Okay. So launching very soon. I'm going to be having some jackets, blazers, some other few cool pieces. And my pop-up shop is happening May 25th. And so you guys can come out, come and share with me, celebrate with me. I'm getting inducted into the Miami Hall of Fame.
Aww.
So that time will be a celebration of, new pieces from my line, but also just accomplishments that I've gone through my life. And looking forward to just new, unique pieces that I want every woman to feel amazing in when they step out.
Okay.
But just look for Tabia, look for Anissa. I will be out here just growing and hopefully flourishing even more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can our viewers find you?
So my website is www.anissa.tabiacharles.com. I am on Instagram. You can find me at Tabia Charles Collins. And so on Facebook as well, Tabia Charles Collins. So I'm all over social media.
And you got YouTube too.
Yes. How did I forget that?
Right?
My little family channel. And on YouTube, The Collins. You'll find me, my husband, and our son just acting a fool.
Well, thank you, Tabia, for joining us today. This has been amazing. And thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more of our amazing shows while we feature Make Your Mark mavens in our beautiful city. Until we see you again.